Welcome to GBALL VISION, everyone. I hope you are doing fantastic today. We have an awesome list of 8 knives that are great for an EDC knife, work knife, all coming in under $200. We're going to kick this off with the AM8 knives Gladiator 2, and this might be the best value on the table. It's up there for sure. You're getting a high polished, sandblasted S90V blade. You have dual titanium anodized thumb studs and a front flipper. Stonewashed titanium handles with some beautiful milling done. You have a titanium backspacer, titanium pocket clip, exceptional pass through with a great chamfer on that lock bar. This thing has done nothing but perform amazing for me. The finish on the blade is held up very well. I love this unique drop point blade. It's nice and straight, and then you have this sweep down. You have a little swedge here going to the tip, giving that a little bit of extra strength. Very utilitarian, very ergonomic in my opinion, and giving it the old squeeze test, I think it's very comfortable. Love the aesthetic of this knife. The action is great. Drops down to your thumb and you give it a little something and it will definitely go all the way home. This is a exceptional EDC knife, and it's been doing great as a work knife as well. Let's get to the next one. Next up, we got the Kaiser Escort. This was a knife that I could not put down for weeks and weeks and weeks. I either had it with me or I was picking it up every day, using it, messing with it. I absolutely love the Kizer Escort, and you'll see that some of these knives fall well under the $200 mark. Some are up closer to it, but I wanted to give a straight price point that all these knives fall under. Some are just above 100. I think this is kind of in the middle at like 140-ish, kind of depending on which variant and where you get it. But for that, you're getting a beautiful 20 CV drop point blade. You have a fuller, dual thumb studs for the deployment options. And this thing is on the highest spring strength that you can put on with the strong spring. And it is absolutely nasty, using Kaiser's crossbar lock. And they have a multifunctional spring that you can adjust. It is just so well done, and I expect Kizer to continue to improving that and just making it better and better. I've been saying all along, Benchmade created the crossbar lock. Kizer has perfected it. You're getting black aluminum handles. I believe they have a micarta version as well, and maybe some other flavors at this point. I like this knife so much that I threw a TRM titanium deep carry clip on this guy. Absolutely a wonderful EDC knife, and I think it would make a great work knife as well, depending on what you're doing, of course. Let's get to the next one. Next up is a tried and true EDC knife, lightweight EDC backpacking knife. I mean, you name it, this knife will be able to handle it. This is the Hogue Deca, the version 2, coming in Magnacut. I opted to go for the clip point, drop point style blade on this one, being as I have a 20 CV Wharncliffe. But this has a coated Magnacut blade. You have dual thumb studs for your deployment options using Hogue's Able Lock, crossbar lock. This thing is, not only is it beautiful, but it is lightweight, slicey as hell. Look how thin that blade stock is. Comes down extra thin, and Hogue does an exceptional job on their edges. The ergos are just fantastic on this thing. You have a deep carry steel rollover clip on this guy. Beautiful carbon fibers handles. Open construction on this guy, making it extra lightweight. I love this thing, and it has proven itself to be a phenomenal EDC knife. And I believe wholeheartedly that this competes with the Benchmade bug out, and it beats the Benchmade bug out in a lot of ways. Let's get to the next one. This next one is a newer purchase for me. This is the Kuby Velocha, and this is an outstanding deal, guys. I think this hovers in the low $100, like 130, 140, somewhere around in there. But for that, you're getting an incredibly unique design. And this thing is coming in S90V. You have a high polished sandblasted blade. And I love this drop point blade. It's so unique. You have such a thick, nice spine blade stock here. It comes down pretty thin, but this isn't meant to be a slicer. This is meant to do some good poking. Look at that blade stock behind the tip. This thing is meant to be a poker. That's why it's so thin, I believe. You have a nice full size finger choil there. You have flamed titanium handles here, which look absolutely stunning. You have blue anodized titanium hardware. You have a full length titanium backspacer with the matching flame pattern. It makes this thing ultra comfortable, and I absolutely love this thing. Great access to the lock bar with a nice big chamfer. The action on this thing is incredible for how thin and lightweight that blade is. This thing is absolutely buttery smooth. The detent is tuned to perfection for the thumb flick, the reverse flick, the rear flipper. It just thwacks every time. I love this thing, and I'm so glad I picked it up. It's a Manganis design, a fellow brethren in the knife community, the Kuby Velocha. If you want something unique, that's definitely going to be a good pokey, stabby knife. This is definitely one to take a look at, and it's very, very comfortable with that nice full-length backspacer, nice titanium pocket clip. Definitely a great one from Kuby. Let's get to the next one. Next up is one of my all-time favorite EDC and work knives. Now, this might be a little big, a little heavy for some guys out there, and for other guys, it will be absolutely perfect. If you like a little bigger of a knife, something that's going to be a little heavier duty, this thing is absolutely exceptional. I have beat the literal piss out of this AD10, and it still is just absolutely phenomenal. The blade finish, the satin finish is held up extremely well. The edge is held up extremely well. Coming in S35VN, nice drop point blade. I love this thing. It's so comfortable in hand. Because of the triad lock, you get basically a full length backspacer, and you get Cold Steel's overbuilt pocket clip. That's probably my only con of this knife, but there are aftermarket options available for that, and I've contemplated getting one for this knife, but it doesn't bother me to the point where I feel like I need to get one. Someday I might, though. And the action on this thing is absolutely incredible for a back lock, a triad lock. If you place your finger right here, you will not get cut. This will drop down to your finger, and then you give it one little shake down, and she is closing. Now, it will take some time to break this guy in. When you unbox this, if you were to get a new one, it will not be quite like this. This took weeks and weeks of flipping and unlocking it to get to this point, but it is so buttery smooth at this point. I can reverse flick it out, and it comes a flying out. Love the AD10. It's built like a freaking tank, and it is exceptionally comfortable. Love the aesthetic of this thing. It's cold steel to a T. Love this thing. Let's get to the next one. So I probably could have filled this list up with a few Migron and AM8 knives. Now I'm only bringing out 2, but there definitely could have been a couple more on this list. This is coming from AM8 knives as well. This is the Preyert 2. This is also coming in S90V. I love that they are dabbling in S90V. I hope it continues. I've heard that that trend might not continue, that they might not keep using it. We'll see what that looks like here in the future. But the Prayer 2 has been an awesome EDC and work knife. The finish is actually holding up pretty good. I have beat the piss out of this thing as well. And for what I've done to this, the finish is holding up extremely well. You can see a little bit of wear and tear on it. The PVD coating, drop point blade, swedge going to the tip. You got a flat here, pill-shaped hole, and a rear flipper tab for your deployment options. The detent is tuned very, very good. You can thumb flick this guy out, reverse flick him out. The action is on point with this thing. Buttery smooth. Look at that. Woo-hoo-hoo. I love being able to thumb flick out a titanium frame lock. Guys who watch me all the time know that. I love being able to thumb flick out. There's just something about being able to do that. You got a little choke up spot here for some controlled detail type work. You wouldn't want to, have a full grip there. Beautiful diamond textured titanium scales. Look at that micro milling. So beautiful. So well done. It actually gives you a nice amount of texture and grip. I love the horizontal milling done on the chamfered edges. Love the pivot. I love this knife. For the money, this thing is extremely hard to beat. You have a milled titanium pocket clip, back spacer. I feel a screw coming loose. Is that a T? Did I take this thing apart and not? That's a T6. Sidebar, guys. I'm not losing a screw. There we go. Nice. Might have to take this thing apart and clean him up. But the Prayer 2, I've had a lot of people ask me about this knife. You have great pass through with some jimping there on the lock bar. Like I said, this thing is exceptional. Let's get to the next one. Next up is going to be a semi-oldie, but definitely a goodie, the AD20.5. This has the AUS 10A clip point blade. You have the pill-shaped hole and dual temple thumb studs. Shark lock. I have some RGT micarta scales on here and a Lynch Northwest deep carry pocket clip just to spiff it up a little bit. I've contemplated getting a titanium and 3V version, but I haven't jumped on it yet. The edge comes back nicely. It doesn't last the longest, but it has done very well as an EDC knife. It is fidgety as hell. It's comfortable in hand. It's lightweight. Carries very nicely, especially if you have a Lynch clip on there. The action is great. The only thing I think they missed on is they should have used 14C28N, just in my opinion. But for all things considered, I think this is an exceptional knife. And if you want better steel, which back when I bought this, they didn't offer, they are offering other steels, D2, 3V, and I think there's some other ones as well with tons of different handle configurations. I love this knife. It doesn't get as much carry time as it used to. I'll have to start getting it back out, but it is exceptionally buttery smooth. No skiffs in there. Original bearings have broken in very good. Look at that. Woo-wee! And you can use that to open it as well. Love the 20.5. Let's get to the last one. This last one is going to probably be technically the best of the bunch. For around $150, $160 to get a USA made, USA designed by Hogue Ritter, made by Hogue. You can get them in 20 CV. You can get them in Magna Cum Latte or Magnacut, as we like to say. I love this thing. FDE handle, open construction. You have a couple standoffs there. You have a deep carry, rollover clip, or mostly deep carry. Nice 20 CV coated blade. And when I got this thing, it was extremely, extremely tight. But with enough fiddling and opening and closing, it has gotten extremely smooth. This thing is ergonomic as hell. Very comfortable in hand. Nice jimping up here on the spine of the knife. Hogue does some of the best edges in the game, right beside Spyderco. Like I said, with the Deka. Now, these are different knives, different animals. This is a little harder use, but still an EDC knife nonetheless. I love the Ritter Hogue, and I wouldn't mind getting a Magnacut version, maybe the mini version of this. But this is probably the best value on the market, or one of the best values on the market. If you can get S90V for around 150, 140, 160 with titanium, that's definitely a good value. These are all S90V right here. 150 for 20 CV, very hard to beat. 20 CV for like 130, 140. Magnacut for like 150, 160, depending on when you got this. I think that's about the price I paid for this. But there are good knives out there, good material choices, good steels. I mean, great EDC knives that you can get well under $200. And if you don't want a bunch of knives, any one of these knives would last you the rest of your life pretty much. I have no qualms about that. S90V, 20CV, Magnacut. You're going to be in good hands if you go with something like this. I hope this helps somebody out there along the way. If you're new here, click the subscribe button down below the video. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. I'll throw up 2 new videos here. I definitely recommend going and checking them out. Otherwise, guys, I will catch you on the next one.